Today we're going to start a new project inspired by one-point perspective in the painting Fall Poplars by Vincent van Gogh. We're going to hit the pause button and watch this excellent movie on what one-point perspective is first. We've been learning about one-point perspective, which is a drawing technique used by artists to create the illusion of depth on a flat surface. It is the most basic form of perspective in which parallel lines appear to join in the distance at a vanishing point on the horizon line. This technique is based on how the human eye perceives the world around us, meaning objects closer to the viewer appear larger, while distant objects appear to be getting smaller as they move away. Changing the size of objects along with overlapping creates the illusion of an art element called space. Using our knowledge of one-point perspective, vanishing points, horizon lines, and converging lines, we will create a painting inspired by this Vincent van Gogh fall-time artwork. First, you will get your paper. Make sure it is turned vertically, which is tall, up and down. Write your name and your class code and flip it over. Find the middle, draw the horizon line, and then find the middle and make your point. Then find the two bottom corners, draw a ghost drawing to make sure you know where you're going with your pencil, and draw your two converging lines. In a minute, we're going to see who gets to bring the messy mats to everybody at their table. Now, when you guys put the messy mats down, make sure that your paper is facing the right direction, like that. Then listen to see who gets the paint sponges and brushes and the paint. We are not getting water for this project. Put them in the middle of the table. The first painting tool you will use is a sponge brush. You will create some fall foliage, which is fall trees. Start with the lightest color, yellow. Put a little bit on the end, and remember at the top, the tree also converges down to that vanishing point. So when you dab on your paint, make sure to leave a V where the sky is, so it looks like you have tall trees close to you and small trees as they go farther away. Do not put your sponge brush in water. Clean it off with a dry paper towel. Dab it on both sides, and then when you want to do the next color, which is orange, you have to wipe off your sponge brush with a paper towel. You will only use one paper towel to wipe off all the colors on your sponge. Then go to the darkest color, which is red, for your fall trees. You are allowed to go a little bit below the horizon line. Wipe off that sponge brush. Then pick up a paintbrush, starting at the vanishing point on the horizon line. Paint using diagonal strokes all the way to the bottom of the page. From the vanishing point to the bottom of the page, that will be the dirt road leading up to the cottage, which we will put on next week. On the ground, I am going to get out my sponge brush again and add some texture sponge on each side of the road. Kind of blend it with the foliage and the trees so it doesn't look like it's a separate painting. Wipe off your sponge brush, pick up your regular paintbrush, and add some fallen leaves to the side of the road. You can even add some accents of color on your dirt road. If you think you're done, raise your hand, let me look at it, and if you are finished, pick up your messy mat and transfer your painting to the drying rack. You have to carry it on your messy mat like a lunch tray. Slide the painting off of the messy mat and return the messy mat back to the messy mat bin. You are not going to the sink to wash your hands. You will return to your table. Great job! You just completed a painting inspired by Vincent van Gogh using one-point perspective. Next week, we will add a paper cutout of a cottage on the road leading all the way down to the horizon line. Thanks for listening. Now on to day 2. You are going to add a collaged paper cabin at the end of the road in the painting that you created last week. So on day 2, we are going to revisit the Vincent van Gogh's Ave of Poplars artwork. And as you can see, the road leads to the cabin at the end, and then there's trees in various heights. The ones closest to you are tallest, and as they go back towards the cabin, they get smaller. So make sure to keep that in mind when you are drawing your trees in today. So let's say you didn't have enough time to paint last week. What you're going to get is oil pastels. Carefully slide them out of the container and set them to the side. And if they drop on the floor, please immediately pick them up, because once you step on them, they will kind of grind into the ground and never come out. So please pick them up when you drop them. Now, I didn't finish my road leading to the cabin very well last week, so that's what I'm going to do today. And then I'm going to add some more brown to the ground, and make sure to rub it in if you want it to kind of blend with your painting from last week. I'm going to add some texture. I'm going to define that road leading to the cabin. And if you didn't finish your leaves last week, find the warm colors, the red, the orange, the yellow, and you can finish adding your leaves. This is the bin you're going to get next. So once you're finished with all of your painting or your oil pasteling, today is tree day officially. So grab some cups of crayons and start to draw your long trees closest to you, which is near the edges of the paper. And as you go back towards the cabin, make the trees smaller and smaller. The lines are shorter. Make sure that you're following the bottom edge of the tree with that diagonal path. So I like to put my brown crayon on first, then add some shadows with the black crayon. Add some texture, trace each branch so you can see it, and then you can go right on top of the brown crayon as well and make it look like bark. So when you're done, it should kind of look like this. You can see the trees, there's different sizes, it shows distance and depth and space. And next we're going to work on the cabin. So what you're going to need is a tray of paper, a couple marker pens, and a bottle of glue to share with your table. Now I like to find a square or rectangle from the tray, and then try to find another square or rectangle. And you know how to cut a triangle. You cut it diagonally across the square. And there you go, you have your roof. If you can't find a square, just use a rectangle and just cut a triangle. If the pieces are big enough, put them back in the tray for somebody else to use. I know the video shows a cup of glue, but you will grab 1 or maybe 2 white glue bottles and share it at your table. And remember, dot, dot, not a lot on the back of your piece of paper. Press it down really good. Dot, dot, not a lot, and press it down really good. to glue down your cabin. Please twist your glue bottle closed when you're done gluing down your cabin and set it in the middle of your table, not in the table bin. Now from this point, to do the small details, use a glue stick. I have some pattern papers in here you can use. I would recommend cutting out doors, windows, as many details as you can, because it's more interesting if they're cut than just drawn on. Try to make it interesting. You can add a second floor. You can add windows. Then draw on more details with your marker pen. Now the one I just did, I just started, so that's like a basic model. But this next one, you can tell the artist spent a lot of time on. They were thoughtful. They added a lot of pieces of paper, and then they added just a couple pieces of drawing. This one went above and beyond. This is super unique, and they added doors, windows, and cut paper, and they even had time to add a side shed. When it's cleanup time, do not put small trash scraps back in the tray like this. Only have pieces that we can reuse again in the tray, like this. If you have tiny pieces, please throw them in the trash.